Hi, my name's Amar and I've grown multiple Faceless YouTube channels to a point where I can go consistently viral. But this video isn't just about YouTube strategies, it's about the journey that got me here. Because just a few years ago, I was simply a kid sitting in front of a screen, watching creators on YouTube and wondering if a kid like me could do the same thing. Today, I want to share how that curiosity turned into obsession, and that obsession into a skill. Skills that eventually allowed me to make YouTube my full-time focus before people my age even started considering their careers. And more importantly, I want to show you why creating a channel, even if it's not successful, can instantly change your life. Before we start, if you're someone who's interested in creating a faceless YouTube channel that can generate 100,000 views and have the potential to generate some crazy income, click the first link in the description to join my private community. Slots are limited, so join fast and it's dirt cheap at the moment. Now let's start from the beginning. Every story starts somewhere. Sometimes it starts with a big opportunity. Sometimes it starts with years of planning. But for most creators, it starts in a much simpler way. For me, it started just being in front of a screen and having a feeling. I was a kid watching YouTube, not casually, not just putting something on in the background so I could do something else, but I was fully locked in. I would watch creators play games like Minecraft and turn something as simple as gameplay into entertainment for millions of people. That's when I realized they weren't just playing games, they were telling stories, they were building communities, and somehow, they were turning pixels on screens into real life careers. Even though I was young, that idea fascinated me. It wasn't about the fame, not about the money, but it just seemed like something that gave me freedom. The freedom to build something of your own and share your ideas with the world. And the freedom to turn creativity into something real. One moment that I remember so clearly is crazy is when I was 4 years old and I got my first PlayStation for Christmas. At the time, it was just a gift that any other kid would get. But looking back now, I realized that small moment changed the trajectory of my life. Because now, I can experience the games for myself. I started playing games like Minecraft and Terraria, and I soon discovered that on PlayStation, you can create your own videos and upload them to YouTube so simply. At the time, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I didn't understand thumbnails, I didn't understand editing, I didn't understand titles, audience, or retention. There was no strategy behind what I was doing. It was just pure passion. I would literally make hour-long videos just talking to myself. I would upload videos simply because of the idea of creating something and putting it online for anyone to see. That moment when you press upload and you imagine anyone in the world and click on that video and enjoy it. That's what kept me going. As time passed, I started taking things more seriously. When Fortnite became one of the biggest games in the world, I was addicted. It quickly became one of the biggest focuses of my content. While most kids were simply playing the game for fun, something in my mind started thinking differently. Instead of playing, I began asking questions like, how do people make videos that others want to watch? How do some creators grow so quickly while others take years to build up to even 1,000 subscribers? And what makes someone actually click on a video? At the time, I didn't fully understand these questions, but they were the beginning of something important. The beginning of my curiosity. And curiosity is one of the most powerful tools you can have when trying to build something big. By the time I was 13 years old, that curiosity had turned into my first real milestone. I reached my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. To most people, that number might not seem impressive, but to a 13-year-old, seeing thousands of people watching you, it was special. It feels huge. It feels like proof. Proof that the ideas in your head can turn into something real. For the first time, I realized YouTube wasn't something that I just watched. It was something that I can build on. But the journey wasn't perfect. After a while, something began to change. On the surface, the channel looked like it was doing alright. The numbers were slowly growing, the uploads were consistent, and people kept watching. But internally, things felt different. The rush that I used to feel, the excitement that I used to feel before I pressed upload, it started to fade. Recording began to feel like more of a chore than something to be creative on. Instead of feeling inspired, I was stuck. The game I was focusing on, Fortnite, was no longer giving me the same excitement that it used to. Updates felt repetitive, the content felt forced. And eventually I started questioning everything. Was I burnt out? Am I not made for this? Or is YouTube just the problem itself? A lot of people reach a stage and make one of two decisions. They either quit completely, believing that it just wasn't meant to be, or they continue uploading content that they don't believe in anymore. Neither option felt right to me. I knew I wanted to do YouTube. So I asked myself one question. Do I want to quit YouTube, or do I want to pivot to a different sector in YouTube? That realization shifted my whole perspective. I realized that I wanted to actually make content. I loved it. I just needed a new direction. So instead of quitting, I started again. I moved into creating content about a different game. And the way I approached it was completely new. This time, I didn't rush. I didn't upload randomly. I slowed down and I studied. I started watching successful videos with a different mindset. Instead of watching for purely entertainment, I started looking for patterns. What titles were getting attention? What thumbnails made people stop scrolling? What did the first 30 seconds in a viral video look like? And I started noticing something different. Viral videos aren't random. The thumbnails created emotion, the pacing felt structured. Everything had a reason behind that. And once I understood that, I started improving execution. I recorded with intention and started editing with purpose. Every cut was meant to remove boredom. Every little moment was meant to keep the viewer interested just that second longer. Then came the moment that tested everything. Uploading on a brand new channel. When you upload without an audience, every video feels like a gamble. But this time something felt different. I had something I've never had before. I had knowledge. When the video went live, I refreshed the analytics constantly. At first, for about 2 weeks, the numbers were slow. But then, something crazy happened. The graph started rising, slowly at first, but then it skyrocketed. Thousands of views turned into tens of thousands of views. Eventually, that channel reached over 30,000 views on a brand new channel. But the most important part wasn't the number. It was understanding why that happened. People were clicking, people were staying. The algorithm wasn't randomly choosing my video, it was reacting to how viewers actually watched it. That moment gave me something extremely valuable, which was confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from luck, but the kind that comes from understanding. I realized success can be repeated, and that changed everything. Over time, I started applying these new ideas to different channels and videos. One of those channels involved creating FIFA content. Again, it was a fresh start. But this time I had experience in YouTube. The first video gained over 50,000 views. Then the next one grew to over 100,000. And the next. Soon, single uploads were outperforming entire channels that I've had for years. Not because I got lucky, it's because I earned it. Through that process, I realized something bigger than YouTube itself. Starting a YouTube channel doesn't just teach you how to make videos. It gives you skills that can apply everywhere in life. You learn how to tell stories. You learn psychology. You even learn marketing. You learn how to grab attention in a world where attention is the most valuable resource. You learn discipline. You learn how to deal with failure. And most importantly, you learn how to build something from scratch. Most people never develop these skills because they never start. They spend years waiting for the perfect time, the perfect idea, the perfect setup. But the truth is, even starting with imperfections is still better than not starting. It teaches you more anyway than thinking about it ever will. When you start creating online, something powerful happens. You start thinking differently. Instead of consuming everything around you, you start asking questions. Why does this video work? Why do people share this idea? Why do people stay engaged? And these questions slowly start sharpening your thinking. Over time, that thinking turns into skill. And skills compound. You might start with 0 views, but if you keep learning, improving and experimenting, those skills eventually create opportunities that most people will never have. This is where my mindset changed completely. I started seeing YouTube as understanding human behavior, understanding attention, understanding value. The best thing is that the algorithm doesn't care about your age. It doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care if you have the best camera quality or if you're just using your phone. It only cares about one thing. Can you create something that people want to watch? Once you understand that, everything changes. You stop hoping for success. From that point onward, creating content became an obsession. I studied retention graphs, thumbnails, storytelling, everything to make the perfect YouTube video. Every low performing video became feedback. Every mistake became data. I didn't have expensive equipment. I didn't have a team. But I had something more important, time and curiosity. While most people are scrolling endlessly through content, I was trying to understand it. Because the internet is one of the few places that age doesn't determine your potential. A teenager with the right skills can compete with someone twice their age. There are no gatekeepers, no resumes required, just ideas and execution. This is what makes this opportunity so powerful. And that's why starting something today can change your future in ways you can't even predict. I never imagined that all those years of doing YouTube, all those skills that I've compounded, have led me to start my own private community. It's really cheap at the moment and slots are limited. If you're interested in joining, click the first link in the description. This story isn't really about becoming a YouTuber. It's about realizing that the skills you build while creating content can reshape the future of your life. Confidence, creativity, discipline, those things don't disappear even if a channel fails. But trust me, in this era of YouTube, it's really easy to go consistently viral and get hundreds of thousands of views. But even if you fail, you can start again. Those skills don't ever disappear, even if a channel fails. They stay with you and they compound. If every channel I own disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't be starting from 0. I'd be starting with experience. And experience is something no algorithm can take away from you. So if you're someone who's watching this video, but you're just waiting for the right idea to start or the right time, my best piece of advice I would give to you is just start now. Start today, not next month, not next year. Start now. The right time rarely appears. Most successful creators simply started before they felt ready. They uploaded imperfect videos. They failed publicly. But they took that data and learned. They adapted and eventually they start improving their videos. That process is what builds success, not perfection. But whether you join my private community to work with me or not, the first step is simply starting. Because every creator you watch was sat there just like you are right now, thinking of starting, wondering if it's possible. The difference between you and them is that they press upload. And once you start, there's no telling what direction YouTube could take you in. Because sometimes the smallest action, simply pressing upload, can change the directory of your future. That's what I've got for you today. But if you learned something new or found this video inspiring, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.